because people pay to solve specific problems. They don't pay for fog. They don't pay high dollar for help. They pay for you to solve their problems. Hello, and welcome to the Scaling Therapist podcast. I'm your host, James Marland, and I help therapists develop additional streams of income without maxing out their calendar. And that's what we're going to talk about today, 3 steps for therapists to add a scalable revenue stream without the overwhelm. Now, if you're listening to this podcast, you're probably a therapist, coach, or consultant, and you're probably pretty good at your job because you've done the work and you've already built a steady stream of clients. You've created real impact. You've done great work. You're proud of what you've done. But lately, you're tired. You've seen something or something's going on in your life that you're like, is this all there is? Because your calendar's maxing out. You've hit a level where you don't necessarily need to add more people, or you don't want to add more people because you hit a ceiling. Like, it's a ceiling of time. You've just filled up all your spaces. You've hit a ceiling of energy. Like, you just can't do all the things you need to do and add one more person. And it could even be some compassion. Many therapists I talk to, there's compassion fatigue. It's not that they don't care. It's just that they care so much for so many different people that keeping up that level for so long, because you're good and people seek you out, is difficult. Therapist has a very difficult, emotional, draining job. So when I see this, and probably when you see this in your fellow therapists, is it's not because you hate your job or you hate helping people. You still love people. You love your clients, but your calendar's full or your emotions are heavy. And there's just not a lot of space. There's not a lot of space to breathe, let alone grow. And maybe life, on top of this, life might have thrown you a wrinkle, or you see this wrinkle in the future because your child might need extra attention, or a family member gets sick, or your health changes. I've seen this many times when people come to me. Their health has changed. They just can't work the same way they had. There's some sort of change. And so when you see the future for working a maxed out calendar, day after day, month after month, or year after year, it starts to feel like a cage or a prison sentence than a job. Well, what else is there? I'm starting to hit the ceiling, or I've already hit the ceiling, and burnout is creeping in. What do I do? What else is there to do? What if I could create one of those products that people do, or a CE course? Or what if there was something that didn't always require me to be in the room or me to have my full compassion hat on? Well, if you've thought of those things, then this episode is for you, because today we're going to talk about how to solve a problem that will add a second stream of revenue to you as a therapist. We're going to talk about what that problem is, how to package it into something scalable, and how to do it in a way that feels good to you and aligned with who you want to serve and not overwhelmed. So let's get into that. The first thing when designing an additional stream of income is to identify the problem people will pay for, because people pay to solve specific problems. They don't pay for fog. They don't pay high dollar for help. They pay for you to solve their problems. Let me take you back in time to a time when I mounted a TV to my wall, and I was really proud of this. It was a big TV wall mount, so it had all these thick bolts that went to it, and you had to find, I think, two studs, maybe even 3 studs in the wall. You had to find the wall because you couldn't just screw it into the drywall. So I had a stud finder, and I thought I was using it correctly, and I found the studs, and it beeped when it was over the stud, and so that's where I drilled my hole. And then when I put the big screws in, it held, and it was really tight. Anyways, the TV was up. It was going great. And then a day later, I come downstairs to change the laundry and I'm in the basement. I walk on a spot and it's wet. Like, oh no, water problems. I hate water problems because we had our hot water heater acting up and we had somebody in changing the pipes. And then I got mad because the pipes were, did they charge me all this money and now the pipes are broken? So I looked at the water heater and sure enough, the pipe above the water heater was dripping right onto the water tank, and then it was dripping onto the floor and seeping forward. And then I had a terrible thought. What if it was the work I had done on the TV? And sure enough, after a little bit of consternation, because I didn't want to take down the wall, I cut a hole in the wall where I had put the TV, and there was the water pipe. I drilled a hole into the drain pipe for the upstairs sink. I had created this massive problem. So I went to the store and I was looking around at all the parts and there was like many different solutions and I could get a sleeve or I could cut out the pipe and put extra pipes around it. I finally asked the salesman there, like, I have this problem. I drilled a hole in the pipe. What do I do? He said, oh, I got the perfect thing. And he walked me over to a selection of tools I'd been looking at or pieces. And I'm not a plumber. He picked up the pipe, the sleeve. He picked up 2 clamps and he said, this is all you need. Put it around the pipe, screw in the clamps together, and he'll fix it right up for you. Like, great. So I took it home, applied the solution, tested it for a little bit, made sure it wasn't leaking, then closed the hole back up, drywalled it, painted it, put the TV back up a little lower this time. Everything worked out fine. So when I was talking to that man, I didn't just have a general problem. I had a specific problem. And I went to that store to solve that specific problem. In fact, I went to that store to buy something to solve that problem. I wasn't exactly sure what I was going to buy. I just knew I was going to spend money to buy that problem because that problem was a today problem. It wasn't a someday problem. It wasn't a problem that could be solved later. It wasn't a problem I could let go. It was a fix it now or you're going to ruin the basement type of problem. And that is the type of problems that you need to solve. In fact, those are the type of problems that you solve on a regular basis. If people have a problem that they need to solve it today, they are ready to spend money. Those are the type of that's what people buy. People buy solutions. I wanted the hole fixed. I wanted it covered up. I wanted the pipe watertight. I wanted a dry basement. I bought what the guy gave me because he had knowledge and he showed me how to use it. He helped me solve my problems. If your product or offer solves a real problem that people care about right now, they're not going to need any convincing. So the first thing with developing an additional stream of income is find a problem that people want solved right now. But knowing what problem to solve is only part of it. The next step is figuring out how to package that solution into a way that creates income without creating more exhaustion. So what you need to do is package the problem into a structure. Your experience is a product waiting to be packaged. You already have the skills, you already have the experience, you're already getting results with your clients and customers. What you don't have right now is a structure that is scalable. You have a structure that depends on you maxing out your time and energy and being at the same place or a specific place where people can have services, the one-on-one model, at a specific time with a specific person. That is the structure you're living under. I call it buckets. You're carrying buckets. You're dipping from your well of time. You're dipping from your well of compassion. You're dipping from your well of the calendar, and you're filling up your bucket and you're pouring it out one at a time, one person at a time. What you need is a different structure, which is more like an aqueduct. An aqueduct is you build the structure, then you maintain it, and then whether you're there or not, the water flows. One of my favorite exercises I have done in the last year was after I read Donald Miller's Coach Builder book. And in it, he suggests this simple exercise, and I suggest that you do this too. I also have a handout for this at the end that will have this drawn out for you, but you can do it with just a simple piece of paper. On the left side of the paper, write down all the problems your ideal client is facing. So if you started thinking about a problem from step 1 up above, in step 2, we're just writing down all the problems that people are facing. What frustrates them? What are they afraid of? What are they spending money on? What are all those things? So that's on the left side. On the right side, list possible products or services that could solve those problems. Some of these could be as simple as a digital download or a problem-solving cheat sheet. It could be a digital video course of some sort. It could be a hybrid coaching program where you share with them a video and then you meet with your group once a week. It could be a CE course. Maybe you can solve problems for other therapists. You have a hiring system, you have a firing system, you have a scheduling system. It works well for you, you get great results, and you could easily package it up into something that could be distributed to multiple people. If somebody is already trying to solve the problem you help with, then you have a great product opportunity. So on the left side, on the left side, you write the problems. On the right side, you list your possible products and services. Graham Cochran puts it this way: people don't pay for information, they pay for transformation. So on the left side of the paper, you put the problem. On the right side, you put the mechanism that you would use to deliver the transformation. Now, it doesn't have to be massive. Like, it doesn't have to be a nine-month seminar. It just has to be something real. The pro tip here is start with a MVP, or minimal viable product. The big curse for experts here when we want to make something is that we know all about the subject. We love the details. I love details. I agonize about the details. I read books about the details. I watch documentaries about the details. I listen to podcasts about online business coaching. And then when it's time to put together a product, and I'm speaking to myself as much as anyone, but when we put together that product, we cram as many of those details into it as possible. And it bloats it, and it makes it less usable for the people who just want the solution. People don't want the details. We want the shortcut. So when you're designing your MVP, give them the solution that's a shortcut. Now, when I went to the hardware store, the guy could have shown me 10 different options and described why each one had its benefit, but he didn't. He just went right to the product that he felt would solve my problem the quickest with my expertise of not being a plumber. And he gave it to me and said, use this. And that's what your people want. They want the solution and the shortcut. Well, if you're wondering who this was for, who is this product for, or how to break it down without boxing yourself in, that's good. Because the next step, the third big idea here, is you're not going to share this with the whole world. You wouldn't want the whole world to buy your product. You want to speak to one person. So the third big idea is share the solution to the problem with the right person or people. Find your someone, not everyone. One of my favorite experts I've been listening to over the last 2 years is Tad Hargrave. He's marketing for hippies. He has this excellent exercise. You can find it on his webpage. I think he sells a webinar for it. He has this exercise about the 5 levels of your ideal client, and it works like a target. In the center of the target is a category, and as you go further and further out from the center, there's other categories, but they're worth less points. You hit the bullseye, you win. So the closer you get to the center, the more likely somebody's going to say, hey, yeah, that's exactly what I've been looking for. At the very center of the target is the issue. That's from step 1. That's the specific urgent problem they want to solve. That's their leaky pipe. That's their wet basement. It's what's keeping them up at night. If you don't name it, if you don't get that right, you won't get the client. The issue is 10 times more important than the next ring. And the next ring of the target is the must-haves. The must-haves are the non-negotiables. What does your ideal client need to already have in place to succeed with your offer? Maybe it's the time to work on it. Maybe it's the tools. Like if you have a woodworking class, they need woodworking tools. Maybe it's a license. Maybe it's a willingness to do the work and show up. If they don't meet these, they're not ready. So first we have the issue. Second, we have the must-haves, what must be in place for them to succeed. Next up is the psychographics. This is all about their values, beliefs, and mindset. Are they open to coaching? Do they want to grow? Do they care about doing meaningful work? Psychographics are very important, but that's not the most important thing. The issue is the most important thing. Then comes demographics. That's their age, job, title. When I first started doing marketing, this is kind of where some of the books and experts were taking me. Identify your ideal client by segmenting them with their age and job title, where they live. It really does help, but it's not the main thing. The issue is the main thing. And finally, the last ring is their qualities. Are they kind? Are they curious? Are they coachable? These are nice to haves. They make the whole experience more beneficial. But this outer ring matters the least of all the things that you're looking for, or that your ideal client is looking for. Remember, the issue is 10 times more important than the must-haves. The must-haves are 10 times more important than the psychographics, and so on. So don't, when you're building your offer and you're trying to niche down to the right person, don't build your offer around the outer rings. Start at the center and start with the problem. And if you want more, it's the Marketing for Hippies. He posts regularly on social media. It's a wealth of information. He's one of the people I follow, and I encourage you to follow Ed Hargrave, Marketing for Hippies, as well. You will learn a lot about marketing. So those are the 3 items. You need to identify the problem. You need to package the problem into a structure. And then you need to share the solution to the problem with the right people. The challenge is you don't have enough time. And that's why we start with an MVP. Start with something small. Start with something that you can do. Start with a problem, a small piece of the problem. You don't have to build everything all at once. If you talk about the problem that you can solve and share the solution with the right people, there will be people who will engage with you. And you don't have to look at the future of maxing out your calendar for the rest of your life. So if you've hit a ceiling with client work or you see the ceiling coming, it doesn't mean that there's something wrong with you. It just means that you might be ready for a new chapter. You don't need to reinvent yourself or to do something you're not good at. You don't need to build a massive program. You just need to take what you already have and package it in a way that works for more people with less of your one-on-one time. Now, if you want help figuring that out, I made something for you. It's called 15 Ways to Earn More, a therapist's guide to packaging your experience into a coaching product. This is your Earn More with Fewer Hour guides. You can download it now at coursecreationstudio.com. and just click the Your Guide button. It's on the top right and several places on the home page. Therapist, you were made for more than maxing out and then burning out. It's time to start putting your MVP mission in motion.